Hi there, everybody. It is Saturday morning, which means Meals with Melissa. I still find this super funny because I'm going to be honest, I am seriously not the best cook ever. Now, I like to bake, but that doesn't really help me when I'm trying to be really good and healthy and make some really good choices. But it helps at Christmas time, right? So today I have a really great option for you. You know, one of the things that I find super interesting is people really have a hard time distinguishing between complex carbs and like simple sugars. So there really is a big difference. And that's, you know, of course, those of you that listen to me know that I'm not a huge fan of keto just because it does completely cut out a nutrient that I think is essential for good health, which is complex carbs. But there is such a big difference between simple sugars and complex carbs, especially when your carbs come from something that's very much plant-based. So today we're going to approach sweet potatoes. And I know I can hear some of you going, I don't like sweet potatoes. Get over it. You know what? Sweet potatoes are an incredible option. They're high in fiber. They're really good for you. So they're a great option when you're trying to be healthier and you're trying to come up with some complex carbs that work for you. So I've got my timer in the background because I am actually doing some cooking as we speak. So let me turn that one off real quick. Okay, it's just reminding me that I need to check my sweet potato that's boiling. So we're gonna cover sweet potatoes in at least 3 ways today. I'm actually gonna give you a couple more options above and beyond that, just because, you know, it's great to have options. And I found a couple great recipes while I was working on it. So we're gonna give those to you. Now, just a little bit of background, really kind of a funny thing, you know, in the United States, we tend to have both sweet potatoes and yams. But for those of you who don't actually know this, all yams in the United States are a form of sweet potato. Why we call them yams, I don't know, different color. It's kind of funny. Real yams, we don't grow them in this country. They're really, really dark red. Everything that we have are just different forms of a sweet potato. So it doesn't matter what you call them or what you buy them in the store, they are a form of sweet potato. Again, the benefit of a sweet potato is that it's high in fiber, really great in nutrients and vitamins, so it's a good option. However, don't get the canned version. The canned version is, you know, that we have at like Thanksgiving and Christmas time is extremely high in sugar. As a matter of fact, they add corn syrup to it to preserve it and of course to make it taste good, because who doesn't want to taste, you know, have some sugar in their sweet potatoes. And then of course, then above and beyond that, we tend to add both brown sugar and marshmallows, which makes it completely negates the healthiness of it, right? Although I will say I cooked them that way this year just because I was having a cheat meal. Anyway, so we're gonna do sweet potatoes 3 ways today. The first one I've actually already done because it took a little while and I wanted to make sure that I got it just right, but I found this really great recipe. It was super ridiculously simple. Now, you know, you can cook a yam just like you would a baked potato in the oven. Whether you want to cover it in foil or not, that's your choice. You know, the skin will actually help protect that as it bakes. But I found this really great recipe for roasted potatoes, and it actually cut down the baking time as well because you actually cut the sweet potato in half. So I made those earlier, really super simple. Cut it in half, put it in a pan. You actually brush it with either olive oil, coconut oil, definitely a healthier version is your best option, and then a little bit of salt, and then you bake them both face down. And the cool thing about it is that they caramelize. So I don't know if you can see this in my lovely little picture here. It caramelizes. So yeah, totally amazing. You haven't added any sugar other than its natural sugars are actually seeping out and causing that nice, beautiful brown color. So what a great option. So to make those, again, you can cook as many as you want. You may have to add some cook time to it if you're doing more than a couple, but it bakes at 400 for about 30 to 35 minutes. And just poke with a fork to see if it's done. If your fork goes all the way through, it's done, right? Super simple. You guys, this is so easy. Awesome. Okay, my second option is I actually usually make them into fry shapes. You know, just cut them in fry pieces because number one, they cook a little bit faster. And it gives me, it's easy to portion it out when I'm trying to pre-portion my food because I do food prep. Whether you're competing or not, it doesn't really matter. You guys, if you take lunch to work, you food prep, get over it. So, you know, doing that way makes it super simple. I can add it, I can measure it, weigh it, put it in my containers really quickly, and then I can take it with me along with whatever proteins that I'm taking for the day. So today, I'm just using small pans because I'm just making smaller portions. I'm just gonna do a really light spray just to make sure that it doesn't stick when I'm done. And I just use just a really light, actually your best option is to use a little bit of olive oil. But in my house, we make a whole lot of these and quick is in our nature, okay? So I've already pre-cut my yams today. Okay, and they're in fry shape. So I'm just gonna put these across the pan. I'm actually gonna spread them out so that they have their own not their own space, but so that they're not on top of each other. Now you have a couple of options. Again, I don't add any sugar of any sort. I have a couple of options. My favorite is cinnamon because honestly, it's a freebie. There's just nothing to it, but it tastes good. It's a great spice. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of that. I've already preheated my oven to 425. Okay, I don't cover them or anything. Just doing a light little, you guys, it's like eating candy. This is my version of candy when I've been in food prep, competition prep, because it tastes good, it's sweet, it's naturally sweet, and baking it, of course, kind of brings out the sugars to it. So I'm just gonna pop that in the oven for about 25 minutes. Set my timer, because you just don't know. I get easily distracted. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that timer just because, you know, I get off and run into somewhere else and I forget that it's in there. The other option too is you could always do more of a, not really savory because again, they're naturally sweet, but you could do a little salt and pepper and just bake them like fries. Guys, sweet potato fries do not have to be fried. They can be baked, just like regular potatoes. You just have to find the right recipe. I've also heard that those new air fryers are the bomb. I have a couple of clients and friends that have them and they just rave about them. So that might be a great option for you too as well. And I know they're fairly fast. So those are great. So again, 425 for 25 minutes. The other thing that sometimes I do, especially if I'm in a hurry or I haven't had time to make some and I've got to play catch up, is a lot of times I'll just take a baking dish, put the fries in there and then put some saran wrap over it, pop it in the microwave and steam it. Makes it super fast, it's like 5 minutes. Steam it. That way it's good to go really, really quickly. A lot of times I'll just leave them as is or put that cinnamon on there, or sometimes I'll add a little bit of sugar-free caramel syrup. Again, not the biggest fan of this just because it does contain sucralose, which does spike your insulin, but I know that I'm eating a carb at the same time anyway, so I'm not as concerned about that. You can also get stevia and flavors, you guys. Tinctures, sprays, I mean, there's some great options. If you have to defer to one, stevia is a better option because it's not a derivative of sugar. So the last option that I want to show you is, I'm not going to actually mash them today, but boiled potatoes, boiled sweet potatoes. Super, super simple because you can pop them in there, let them go, and then you don't have to do anything. You don't have to think about them. You just take them out and, of course, mash them up. And I have a couple of really fun options and recipes when we're done here. So I've already been boiling mine for about 10 minutes plus. That's what the little timer was for. So I'm going to actually take a knife and I'm going to very carefully poke some little holes in the potato just to make sure that it cooks all the way through really quickly. For most of us, you know, food prep is about timing and getting as much done as possible in a very short amount of time. I've gotten to the point in my 7, 8, 9 years of food prepping, I can do my entire food prep for about 4 days in 45 minutes, and half of it I'm not even doing anything. I've gotten it prepped, thrown it in the oven, the crock pot, whatever. So makes it super simple. But I'm gonna poke this just really quick, and then I'll tell you how I did it. Let's make sure we don't burn ourselves, because you know that would be something I would do. All right. And I'm gonna let that cook for about another 20 minutes. So you just get your sweet potato in there, get the water to boiling, boil it for about 10 minutes, okay? If you have to say, I always set my phone timer, that way if I take off around the house, I don't forget that it's still cooking. Then you're gonna poke it with a knife just to make sure, again, that it cooks all the way through, and finish cooking it for about 10 minutes. Then you're gonna either let it sit in a colander, or you can run it under cold water to kind of help cool it off, and get that to be cool enough that you can throw it either in a mixer or hand mash it, okay? So really great idea for mashed once you get this done. I found a super fabulous recipe for sweet potato pancakes that are only 2 ingredients and super healthy for you. So you take a couple of, actually 1 potato and 2 whole eggs, okay? Take the mash of your sweet potato that you just boiled, and then add the 2 eggs, add a little bit of cinnamon, and you could possibly add some allspice, which of course smells amazing and just reminds me of the fall and Christmas. And then mix it up and cook it on a hot griddle. You cook it for about 5 to 7 minutes. Now, one of the notes that they said is that it won't bubble like a regular pancake, so you really have to pay attention because it's not gonna do that like a regular pancake that tells you that side's done. So 5 to 7 minutes, flip it over and cook it for another 3 to 5 minutes, and it's done and it's amazing. And honestly, I don't even know that you would need to add anything to that, but you know, I've known people that would use a little bit of sugar-free syrup I've been known to use sugar-free caramel syrup on especially like a protein pancake, so that might be an option. But honestly, you could probably just literally run out the door with it. It makes it super simple so that you can take it with you if necessary. One other thought that I had on sweet potatoes, especially if you're searching for something new or different for breakfast, why not make sweet potato hash? Sweet potato hash browns, throw it on there. My daughter right now is doing Yukon Gold potatoes every morning as part of her breakfast meal. So she actually, in order to make it interesting, she just makes it in hash browns every morning. Throws some salt on there and it tastes amazing. So keep it simple. That's what this is about. One of the biggest obstacles most people have is time. So if you don't have a lot of time, take these simple ideas and use them to make things work for you. So hopefully that works. Hopefully you found something that works for you today. And if you haven't tried sweet potatoes, I think you're missing out. They're absolutely the bomb. They're one of the best complex carbs that there is. Now, just really quick, again, back to the complex carbs. The difference between complex carbs and simple sugars, the biggest difference is how quickly the sugars in it hit your bloodstream. So in a complex carb like a sweet potato, because it has a lot of fiber in it, it takes it a little bit longer to break down in your system and actually hit your system as sugar. That's why we like them, because it keeps the blood sugar a little more even throughout the day. So complex carbs are great. Simple sugars, even with fruits, tend to be kind of a quick rush, spike your insulin really quick, and then disappear from your system. And of course that's because your insulin has spiked in order to take care of that and maintain your blood sugar. But of course, as always, even with simple sugars, fruits and plant-based options are going to be your best bet, because they contain lots of vitamins and minerals and nutrients, which of course keeps them from hitting your system and causing havoc with your blood sugar. But not only that, they're better for you because of what they contain. All that stuff that you get from the store, whether it's candy, whether it's all refined sugar and high fructose corn syrup. It's empty calories. Your body doesn't need that. So just make some good choices so that when you do want something like that from the store, that it doesn't make as big a difference, because it's only once in a while. So you guys have an incredible Saturday. Hopefully that helps. Next Saturday, I will be at a class, so there will be no Melissa's Meals just for that week. We're doing the best we can to keep up. But if you have a great recipe, or hey, if you have a great idea, something that you do with sweet potatoes that I've never heard of, let us know. We love to share this information. We're trying to give people ideas and the best ways to be healthy and maintain what they're trying to accomplish during the week. So have an incredible day, guys. Have a good weekend.